A beginner's guide to buying a guitar and how to buy everything you need for under £100. That was the challenge set last week. Yeah, me and David Marshall challenged each other to be able to buy everything you needed, including a guitar, for under £100. So we're going to look at David Marshall's video shortly to see how he got on with that task. Now, when you're a beginner and you want to buy your first guitar, it's quite a difficult decision to make. If you go into a guitar shop, this is what you'll see. Racks of guitars, and you really don't know where to start or what to buy. Many times I've been in guitar shops and I've seen a kid go in who wants to buy his first electric guitar. He's been with his father, who obviously has all the money, and it's just, oh, it's black, it's shiny, it looks amazing, I want it, but he doesn't really know what he's buying, and then he's really at the mercy of the guy who works in the store to advise him as to what to buy. Sometimes that can be, a professional guitarist can make a Hello Kitty guitar sound really good. And at the same time, somebody who only knows 3 chords and can't strum properly can make a £1,000 Gibson acoustic sound terrible. So sometimes that can be a little bit misleading. I remember myself, first proper electric guitar I bought, didn't know, I went in for a Yamaha SG, came out with a Kramer Focus 3000 with a Floyd Rose tremor on, completely different guitars, but the guy in the shop sold it, he played it, it sounded amazing, that's for me. But it wasn't the guitar that I originally went in for. So it is a bit of a minefield. So we're going to be looking at the pitfalls, what not to do, and how you can pick things up a lot cheaper than you expect. Now, one golden rule for me, because I get asked constantly, what type of guitar should I be buying? Simple rule of thumb is, which artist, which guitarist are you trying to emulate? If you like Ed Sheeran and you want to play Ed Sheeran songs, acoustic guitar. What type of guitar does Ed Sheeran use? If you like Julian Bream and you want to play classical guitar, buy a classical guitar. If you love Jimi Hendrix, he uses famously, probably the guitar used the most was a Fender Strat, so you're looking for a Stratocaster. And that's really simple. But if you watch this channel, if you like Brian May, then you're going to want to have a red special. That may sound pretty obvious when you already play the guitar, but to a beginner, it's not necessarily that obvious. Now, you can spend a lot of money, and it's not what you want to do, especially when you're just starting, because what happens if you give up and you've spent all of this money? Well, we're going to check out David Marshall's video now and see how he got on with his everything for under £100 challenge. Be warned, Dave's from Scotland, so you might not be able to understand everything that he says. People complain about my accent, being a Geordie, being from near Newcastle, but he's from Scotland, so he's even worse than me. So if you can't understand what Dave's saying, just look at the pictures.
As James said on his page last week, it's good to try and see people getting guitar rigs together, especially those who are on a budget, a very, very tight budget. So it's not expensive to find a cheap guitar or a free guitar and a cheaper pedal and a cheaper amp. High quality, but it's good to shop around. So him and I went on our own little merry way and to try and figure out what we could do, and we did. So the amp, which is a PV Envoy 110, which I bought from a good friend of mine for £40. Thank you, mate. And I've got an amazing pedal called a Zoom G3, which I'm very happy. Should be a picture coming up now as well. Which I'm very happy because it has a Vox effect on that as well, and loads of other wee bits and bobs as well. And also, so that was for £45, £45. And also this guitar, which I actually I found on Facebook Marketplace 2 or 3 weeks ago, for free. I went down to the borders in Scotland and it was for free. So the only thing I've really done, it's in quite good nick. Don't know what WRM stands for, that is the make, but I can't find any WRMs online, but anyway. I quite like the different kind of headstock, a wee bit of damage to the top of the headstock You can see there. I put new strings on. I had the internals rewired because they were a bit goosed. And yeah, and a what you call a Floyd, a Floyd Rose bridge. So let's do the maths. Zero for the guitar, plus well, about £20 on strings and some internal gubbins. There's £20 there. So all in less than £100. You notice I was not trying to do the maths there, but less than £100. So anyway, I'd love to see more of these videos of what you can get for less than £100. Take care, folks. Sayonara.
Well, Dave, you did come in £5 over, so I've kind of won the competition because I got a £30 ESP guitar, a £40 Zoom 4040, that's £70, and a £15 PV amp, £85 altogether. And even if you throw in £5 for a packet of strings, it still brings us to £90. So, but it just shows you that up and down the country and Britain that it is possible to get some decent gear without paying through the nose for it. Now, one of my bugbears is it used to be on here where I live locally, a TV advert for a young 10-year-old lad who has an electric guitar bought for him from this guitar shop. It's a package one where a Squire Fender Stratocaster with a little 15-watt practice amp, and he rocks out and he's playing Eddie Van Halen, and it's so obvious that he's playing through an effects processor which sounds amazing, and Eddie Van Halen couldn't sound like that if he was just playing through a Squire Stratocaster and 15-watt practice amp. He couldn't get that sound himself. And sometimes that's very misleading, and I think it leads to, especially young lads, young children, being disappointed in what they've got, and they think that they somehow must be doing something wrong. One thing I get a lot with teaching kids how to play guitar is parents who've been to Argos and paid, £120, £130 for a guitar, a Xenon, which nobody's ever heard of. They think they've done the best thing because shelling out that kind of money, it must be good, and it's not. It's horrible. So we're going to look at the laptop. I don't want to be picking on Argos because they're just selling generic guitars, but if you don't know anything about guitar, it's kind of what you would do. So if we look here on the Argos website, which a lot of people go to find a guitar, we've got one here, £19.99, half-size classical acoustic guitar. A lot of people buy these for the children, and you can guarantee they end up in the corner of the bedroom gathering dust, and then a couple of months down the line they want to give them away free. I've actually had so many people just hand me them. As a guitar teacher, I just get them handed. Have you got any use for this? Because he doesn't play it anymore. So if you can't get one of those free, you're doing something wrong. You have stuff like this, Rock Jam full-size electric guitar and accessories, £99.99. Without being too harsh, it is not very good at all. Horrible little amp. Don't be fooled by the cheap strings. That makes it out as if you're getting some extras. The guitar itself will be made out of rubbish, and it'll probably be unplayable. And again, it'll probably end up in the corner of some kid's bedroom gathering dust with a chip in it, and then they'll want to be giving it away before you know where you are. Now, if you come down here, a more decent guitar, you can't go wrong with a Squire by Fender Strat full-size electric guitar. £89.99, so it's nearly £90. Strange Beasts, the Squire by Fender Strat. These are the cheap versions. If you buy one from the early 1990s or the late 1980s, these are quite collectible, and some of them are pretty good pretty good Stratocaster copies. And I remember years ago playing them, and they were very good. These ones, however, are the cheaper version, and you could buy them in stores like Toys R Us, and they were aimed at children. But again, the market that buys them, the type of people who buy them, is for kids who are first want to learn the guitar, and they do end up, like we say, gathering dust somewhere, unused, and then on Facebook Marketplace or eBay for next to nothing. Now the most upsetting thing, which it really annoys me, there was a guitar for £90. This is the same guitar, but if you have a £5 strap with Fender written on it and a £5 guitar lead, because there's no way they are quality anywhere near the quality of a proper Fender strap or lead with your 3 plectrums. Just say, for example, for overestimate the value of them is £20, and the guitar is obviously £90. That leaves you with a deficit of £100 for a 15-watt square amp that has no effects on it, might have gain on it, and really does nothing more than just amplify the guitar sound. And that's really, it's almost like robbery. And again, you see these, I've seen these on Shields Marketplace, probably been given away £10. They're not particularly good. They're probably handy for like when guitarists who've got a workshop where they fix guitars will have something like that sitting in the corner so they can test the electrics or something. But you're not going to get a brilliant guitar sound out of one of them, and certainly not worth £100. So it does sound like I'm having a bit of a go here and being very negative. But if you bought a Chad Valley electronic guitar in red for £10, that would probably be more likely to keep its value than what we've looked at previously. Now if we look at Facebook Marketplace, now this is obviously sending up results near to where I live. Everywhere's different, as we saw with the video with Dave Whalo. It was up in Scotland, so it throws up different results. Now there's a guitar, a Yamaha APX. Interesting, at £125 with hard case. Now a hard case generally about £50. So that's got the hard case as well. That's a nice looking guitar. It's electroacoustic. Now don't jump to the conclusion that this is an electric guitar and an acoustic guitar in one. Don't make that mistake. It is just an acoustic guitar which you can plug through an amp. It is still an acoustic guitar. Quality machine heads. There you go with the hard case. That looks like a pretty good buy. From the mid to late 90s in the description. He says, do a Google for reviews and used prices and grab yourself a very collectible instrument. And that's very true. Always look up on Google before you buy, see what the brand new price was when it first came out, and it'll give you an idea as to what you're buying. So that's just a brief look at stuff before I've even typed anything into the search. Black Knight electric guitar, never heard of it. £55. Chances are it's probably better than the £90 Fender Squire Strat. People are probably getting upset with us saying that, but I don't know. But again, if you were to Google it, you might find out. If we put guitar into a search, now there you go. Guitar with amp. Do you recognise that amp? The one in Argos that you were being charged over £100 for is up for £20 with an Encore electric guitar, like Child's electric guitar. Not the greatest guitar in the world, but probably would be decent for, a 6-7-year-old child who wanted to bang away on a guitar. So you haven't had to, fork out serious money. That would probably keep them happy. And then if they decided they didn't want to play the guitar anymore, you haven't had to remortgage the house. Got something there like that, £80 guitar, not the greatest picture in the world. Sometimes people do that when they advertise stuff. They don't put a proper picture, leaving the roadway for some decent bargains to be had because people don't necessarily know what it is. I'm suspecting it's a Johnson guitar, which aren't they're not top of the range, but for £80 seems to be half decent. Where's the description? Les Paul guitar, immaculate condition, lovely tone, recently restroked, so you get a brand new set of strings. It has Johnson AMG humbuck as with gold hardware. So you never know, you might pick yourself up a bargain. There's an Elevation guitar. I would not touch them with other people's money. because they're just horrible. Now, there's an interesting one. If we're looking at amps, I know we're talking about guitars, but amps, flex tone, £50. Some people have a bit of a snobbish attitude towards modelling amps, as if they're not proper amps. But these, I used to have one very similar. It models numerous types of amps, and it also has built-in effects, delay, chorus, you name it. So if you were to, it's a bit battered, this one, but if you were to buy something like this, not only are you getting 150 watts of amp, which is pretty powerful, you're also getting all the effects. You can program them in, and there's a foot pedal to be able to control them. And for £50, I think that's pretty good. Your neighbours might not agree, but that's up to them. Like, my neighbour's deaf. Well, he is now. If you go down, there you go. Exactly what I was talking about. What was £50 in August, now selling for £20. They'll be lucky to get that. Lovely pink child's guitar, not full size, with stand, not used anymore, which is kind of what you get. Them type of guitars. Again, there's another one. £27. As new, hardly used, needs new string, soft case included. So again, that's probably been sat there gathering dust. Strings have corroded because I've left it next to a window. So again, you know, there's lots of things here where you don't have to pay full whack for everything. There's an interesting one. Looks very similar to what was hanging in the background of the studio in Bohemian Rhapsody. Not the same, but a similar type. £110. Old guitar from early 70s, possibly late 60s. Interesting what you say. Now if we go for a guitar amp, there's a Marshall amp, £90. Now you may be thinking, oh, £90, but when you look at what you're looking at in August, you were paying over that for a 15-watt Squire amp. Now you're having a valve state guitar amplifier Marshall. It's a beast. Again, always check on Google when you're looking for stuff. £150. Vox Valvetronic solid state combo. It has, if you look in there, Vox AC30 setting. This is what we want. And it also, I cannot say I'm looking, but my guess, yes, it has a treble booster setting, a bit like the Vox Tone Lab. So there you go. Not a Vox AC30 of over £1,000 or anything like that, but you've got a Vox AC30 setting, a treble booster setting, and you have a phaser setting, delay, chorus, pitch shift, you name it. So for £150, and you obviously have your foot switch there, you could have a decent attempt at replicating a Brian May guitar sound. And there's lots of different types there. Now these are worth mentioning for if you're a beginner. £45 Line 6 Spider amp. These are amp modelling. They have clean crunch, metal sounds, and insane. A lot of kids I've known who've learned guitar they started out with these, and yeah, pretty decent sound for a 15-watt amp, and it's a lot better than the one that we looked at previously that was for sale in August. So you can see there, we could be on forever. If we look for guitar effects, tell you what, we'll look for zoom effects, because sometimes you can get pretty decent bargains on these, because they're not necessarily as popular as what they were in the 90s. £76 for one of them. Zoom G7 processing pedal and gator case. I think I picked my Zoom 4040 up for £40. I saw a Zoom 2020 going for £28. And there's a Zoom 2020. Takes me back. The first effects processor I ever bought back in the early 90s. And down here he's wanting £60 for it. I don't think he's going to get that. That's where if you look up to find out what things are worth. There you go. £10 G1 effects pedal.
delay, reverb, drive. So if you're starting out, stuff like that's going to really be helpful, and you're going to get a pretty decent sound. Zoom 707, £30. I saw the 505 go for £10. That actually has a looper pedal built in where you can play the riff into it and then it'll repeat it back to you. I was disappointed to have missed out on that. So I hope that gives you some ideas on how to buy your first guitar, how to get a rig together for under £100. You don't have to stick to the under £100. I'd like to thank everybody for the well wishes, because as you can hear, I'm not very well. I think you can hear my son coughing upstairs. My wife was that ill last night. We almost phoned an ambulance, had to be on a 111 because she couldn't breathe. I was coughing, I was no good to her. So I think I need some more painkillers because I'm starting to fade quickly. But as always, thank you for watching, and thank you to Dave Marshall for sending his video in, and I hope he's not upset that I've laughed at his Scottish accent.